If you're currently using Retatrutide or you're considering using it, this video might be the most important one you watch before you start. Because what I'm seeing with clients using this compound is not just about the drug not working, it's about people unknowingly working against it and the consequences of that going beyond just slower results. We're talking about muscle loss, nutrient deficiencies, and side effects that are almost entirely avoidable with the right approach. Now, before we get started, I do want to be upfront and very clear. I'm not a doctor and this video is not by any means medical advice. And make sure that you always work with a qualified prescriber when using any peptide or pharmaceutical drug. What I'm going to be giving you guys today is a coaching and nutrition perspective that's backed by published research on how to support your body properly while utilizing this drug. This is the same framework that me and my team utilize with every single client that comes on board with JCF, and the difference it makes to both the result and how people feel on this compound is significant. And just quickly, for anyone who is new to this peptide, Retatrutide is a triple hormone agonist. It simultaneously targets 3 receptors, the GLP-1, the GIP, and the glucagon receptor, which is what separates it from semaglutide, which solely targets the GLP-1, and trizepatide, or otherwise known as Mounjaro, which targets both the GLP-1 and GIP, slightly improved. The phase 2 clinical trial published in the New England Journal of Medicine showed average body weight reductions of 17.5% at 24 weeks and 24.2% at 48 weeks in the highest dose group. At 48 weeks, 93% of participants in the 8 milligram group lost at least 10% of their body weight at a minimum, which is pretty friggin' phenomenal. These are genuinely some of the best numbers we've seen on a weight loss medication to date. But that same trial also documented that the most adverse events were gastrointestinal, being nausea, vomiting, constipation, and what we also saw is these were very dose dependent. As those doses continued to titrate or elevate, so did these adverse events or side effects. The harder and faster you go, the worse they continually got. Now, the biggest mistake I'm seeing people make on this peptide by large is people not eating enough. Now, I understand the logic. It suppresses your appetite so you don't eat. Problem solved, right? Wrong. Now, GLP-1 agonists act through both the peripheral and the central nervous system pathways to suppress appetite and reduce food intake. Now, research published in the Handbook of Experimental Pharmacology confirmed that the GLP-1 receptor is expressed in the brain, most specifically in the region that is responsible for controlling or regulating food intake, and that GLP-1 dose-dependently reduces how much you eat. Now, what does this mean practically? Your body's internal signal to eat has been significantly suppressed, but suppressed is not the same as you no longer need to eat. The biological need to eat is still there. A 2025 review published in Current Developments in Nutrition found that GLP-1 agonist reduces your body's energy intake up to 40% compared to baseline. The review also states that this does raise expected concern around dietary intake, and that professional counseling is essential to support sufficient dietary consumption with protein-rich foods to make sure that we're avoiding these nutrient deficiencies and potential muscle loss. 2025 review in Current Nutrition reports that the lean body mass loss in an individual utilizing a GLP-1 receptor agonist can reach from 15 up to 40% of total body mass loss throughout the duration of the GLP-1 use. Up to 40% of lean body mass has been lost of the total weight loss from that GLP-1 use. So if you're not eating and not training appropriately, you're looking at not achieving a result, but a problem. This is where I see the biggest difference between clients who are achieving phenomenal results on this compound and those who simply don't. It's actually the structure around the drug that is improving to be more and more important. One of the most common things I'm starting to hear from clients who are jumping on our team, who are currently utilizing Retatrutide, is I've never sat down with anyone and had the conversation of how does your day look now? Because it is going to look significantly different with how you're going to feel on Retatrutide. Now, the practical fix to this is really straightforward. We're gonna have scheduled meals, prepped food, which also needs to be the right food. We're gonna make sure that our meals are prioritized around protein first, so we're ensuring that the most important nutrients is the first to be consumed. And we're gonna have easy digesting meals, so meals that we don't feel sick on or we don't feel overly full on. Now this could be different for everyone. I would suggest, obviously, if you find meals that make you feel extremely heavy, extremely full for a long duration of the day, we want to obviously pull those out. Number 2, not drinking enough fluids. Dehydration. This one is really easily missed because people simply assume because they're not thirsty that they're absolutely fine. But when you are significantly reducing your food intake, you're also going to be consuming a lot less fluid through food itself. Less fruit, less vegetables, less cooked meals. All of these contain a substantial amount of fluid that a lot of people simply don't account for. So the way to fix this is the exact same way that we're going to fix your eating. We may need to schedule it. We may need to pre-measure it so we can see how much we need to consume on a daily basis. Or after each meal, you can try to consume 1 cup, which is a little bit of a reminder as well. A 2025 micronutrient review and current developments on nutrition specifically identified a chain of events. Reduced food intake leads to decreased fluid intake, and GLP-1 can also be associated with hypodipsia, which is a reduced sensation of thirst, all of which compounds the problem further. And then we have 3 overlapping issues. Less fluid coming through food, potential fluid loss through gastrointestinal side effects, and a blunted fluid response. And mistake number 3 is your dose probably causing nausea and being able to manage this nausea. I want to be very clear, I'm not prescribing doses or protocols by any means. What I can share is what the clinical evidence has shown us and what I've seen from working with my clients. The phase 2 clinical trial of Retatrutide showed that the gastrointestinal side effects were very much dose related, and in their words, were particularly mitigated by simply starting participants at a lower dose. They showed that participants starting at the 2 milligram dose comparatively to the 4 milligram dose noticed a significant reduction in nausea and general gastrointestinal side effects. The principle that the data supports is clear. Starting lower and escalating more slowly reduces both the severity and the frequency of the side effects. Now, anecdotally, and I want to be completely transparent, guys, this has not been published in any research, but some people have reported that splitting their total dosage into a higher frequency of application across the week. For example, grabbing 1 milligram and injecting that, between 3 and even 5 times across the entirety of the week has shown a significant reduction in that nauseous feeling, comparatively to injecting your entire dose in one hit, where the next day side effects can be highly present. Now look, whether that actually holds up in research, remains to be seen. What the research certainly does support is start low and go slow. Don't push the dose out of impatience. Don't think that taking more is going to improve your result. Yes, obviously slowly escalating up to a higher dosage is going to prolong results over time. But again, what I personally would do is start as low as possible and only titrate up as needed. As you start to notice your appetite, progressively rise again, then continue to slowly titrate your dosing up accordingly. Now, a common question you may be left with here is, Jack, what should I exactly be focusing on eating? My appetite has significantly been reduced, so the amount of food I can consume in a day has been significantly reduced. What should I be prioritizing? So I'm going to run over that with you and hopefully leave you with some practicality to actually take away today. So obviously, the first one, guys, is going to be the most important one, right? Which is protein. And we know exactly what protein is going to do. It is at large going to help preserve lean muscle tissue. It's going to provide recovery and general metabolic health and support. Nutrient number 2 would be thiamine. This one's really, really important. Almost no one in the fitness industry is talking about it. Now, thiamine is a vitamin B1. It's a water soluble, meaning that your body doesn't actually store it in reserve for very long. So when your food intake drops dramatically, especially if vomiting is present, then thiamine becomes directly at risk of being completely depleted. Now, this would be considered a rarity, but the clinical signal is absolutely real. And the consequences of severe deficiency is extremely serious, but also very preventable. Now, I personally would just go and get a quality B complex supplement, but you can also find it in whole grain cereals, nuts, and lean pork as well. Number 3 is fiber. Constipation is one of the most consistently reported side effects of a GLP-1 agonist. And the current development in nutritional review specifically states that it is an adverse effect that further does compromise nutrient status, because when the gut transit starts to slow down, the nutrient absorption is also affected. Now, fiber directly supports gut motility and will completely help counteract this. Beyond that, fiber is going to support blood sugar stability and contribute to your satiety, which can be very helpful when you are consuming lower food overall. Now, we can get fiber very easily through veggies, oats, and fruit are what we can most commonly find them. The good thing about obviously both vegetables and fruit is we're also going to get an abundance of other quality micronutrients that are going to be very supportive of just general health. Guys, some other notable nutrients that you should be consuming, or at least mindful of, is iron, vitamin D, and both your sodium and potassium or general electrolytes as well, obviously helping you maintain that hydration. Now, when it comes to Retatrutide, it is simply removing that internal signal to both eat and drink water. So your job now, or your coaches if you have one, is to build external systems that are essentially going to temporarily replace that internal signal that you would innately get. That means meal prep, scheduled eating windows, holding yourself accountable in one way or another to making sure that you get your meals in throughout the day, because I'm finding it very irresponsible of people utilizing Retatrutide and simply not having these systems in place, and then either complaining or being upset at the response or side effects in which they're experiencing. The reality is your appetite is going to be working against you for the most part. So now it's obviously your job to ensure that, again, the systems and structure are in place to ensure that you do get sufficient nutrients to ensure you're maintaining good health, and obviously trying to avoid as much of these side effects as you possibly can. The people who get outstanding results on this compound are the people who are fueling themselves correctly. Now, it's obviously going to help if you've also got someone checking in, whether it be a family member or a friend, on you either daily or at least very frequently, in order to keep that accountability and obviously ensure that you are doing things safely and correctly. Now look, if you are on this compound right now without that kind of structure or support, or you're thinking about doing it and you want to be doing it properly from day one, I would genuinely encourage you to reach out. Whether it's working with me directly or simply having a conversation around what you need to do. Then the link for a consult call is in the description below, guys. To summarize the most damaging mistakes people make on Retatrutide: number 1, not eating enough. Number 2, dehydration or simply not drinking enough. Number 3, escalating dosing too quickly. And number 4, neglecting nutrients quality. When they are getting food in, they're simply not eating quality food. Guys, if you've made it this far, drop any questions that you have in the comments below, and I will try to answer them in an upcoming video where I'll do a Q&A. Until then, guys, I will see you next time.